Hi, welcome to video 3. In the last video we looked at how thinking differently can improve our mood. We will now look at how changes in behaviour can improve well-being. How becoming behaviourally active can lift us out of a low mood. And also more generally how making behavioural changes can also improve well-being. Today I'm going to explain something called behavioural activation and how to use an activity diary. I'm also going to explain how making behavioural changes can help us achieve our well-being goals. But first I will show you a typical vicious cycle of someone who is experiencing low mood. So as you can see here, work stress is the trigger to being stuck in this vicious cycle. It's really important to note that a vicious cycle reflects just a moment in time. It is the recurrence and long-standing nature of the work stress, amongst other things, that is contributing to low mood. And as you can see, the work stress has a negative impact on thoughts, feelings, behaviour, and is also felt in the body. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be looking at the behavioural element of the vicious cycle. So let's move on to looking at the link between behaviour and mood. First, we will look at behavioural activation. Behavioural activation is an aspect of CBT that focuses not on your thoughts, but on getting active. This is because once you have made positive behavioural changes, your mood will improve. The difficulty with this intervention is that people with low mood lack motivation, making this a hard thing to do. We will look at motivation later. However, by engaging in behavioural activation, we learn what activities give us a sense of pleasure and achievement. And these are the things that improve our mood. So the first task is to find out what gives us a sense of pleasure and what gives us a sense of having achieved something. These are the activities that make our lives more meaningful. We do this by monitoring our activity using a weekly diary. If you think this CBT intervention will help you, then after this video, start your own activity diary. Start by monitoring how your activity impacts on your mood, both negatively and positively. I have attached a blank activity diary to the last email that I sent you. Here is one I have completed. It includes things that may appeal to people of all ages. By monitoring your activity and noticing how it makes you feel, you're gathering evidence and developing a self-awareness of what you need in your life to make you happier. An activity diary is also used to rate your mood. You do this by rating each activity on a scale of 1 to 10. You also note if any activity gives you either a sense of achievement or sense of pleasure, or both. Once you have gathered this information, you will know what activities give you a sense of pleasure and or a feeling of achievement, and how activities cause changes in your mood. Once you have spent a week monitoring your activities, write down the ones that improve your mood. As you can see from this diary, mood improving activities include taking a walk, talking with friends, walking the dog, baking a cake, tidying my bedroom, doing some gardening, getting my homework done, and getting out of the house. So let's look at activity planning. Activity planning is just about writing a list of things that improve your mood and things that give you a sense of achievement as well as a sense of pleasure. This is a list that I have compiled using activities from the diary I have just shown you, and the things that I know from my own experience make me happy. Many of these things are things I stopped doing long ago. As you can see, many of the items on this list cost you nothing to do. Once we have created a list, it is a matter of planning them into our daily routine. So, how do we get motivated? Don't be despondent if you struggle to engage in these activities. There is always tomorrow. But notice, as you engage in the planned activities, what happens with your mood. It will be helpful to keep a record of your mood using an activity diary as you do the planned activities. So you can learn more about what you need to enjoy your life. Getting motivated is the hardest part and the major factor preventing people with low mood from being able to improve their mood. A certain level of acceptance will help, knowing that when you start engaging in the activities, you won't be feeling happy straight away, but that you need to do these activities first before you start to feel well. Having support and encouragement from others can be hugely positive if you are prepared to share your plans. Engaging in these activities slowly will be easier than jumping into too many too soon. And start with activities that feel easier to get into, moving to the more difficult tasks as you go forward. You may find it easier before you start with new activities to use the SMART goal worksheet, helping you to make the activities more achievable. You can also return to the vicious cycles and thought record worksheets to help you challenge any negative thinking that is getting in the way of making these changes. Remember that when we make behavioural changes, we shouldn't attempt something that's too hard. If it's too difficult, we can set ourselves up to fail. Let's now look at changing behaviour as a way of breaking a vicious cycle. Let's have a look at my vicious cycle from earlier. As you can see, my behaviour consists of staying away from Sarah, avoiding talking to her, but checking she is still there, and pretending to be on my mobile phone. These behaviours are coping mechanisms. They help me to manage this difficult situation and the distress it has caused. To break this vicious cycle requires me to drop my coping mechanisms. This takes courage, and so starting off with small behavioural changes and setting realistic and achievable goals will make it easier for me to make changes. Making these changes takes courage, and so starting off with small behavioural changes and setting realistic and achievable goals will make it easier to make these changes. These coping mechanisms are about avoidance. So to change will take courage. If I had behaved differently, approached Sarah and not pretended to be on my phone, it is highly likely I would have found out she wasn't ignoring me. Of course, she might have been, but from my experience working with clients, negative automatic thoughts are inaccurate just about all of the time. As I said, making changes can be really hard, and there will be some useful information in the later video on anxiety and exposure. which will help you to make behavioural changes. I hope you now have an idea of how important the role of changing behaviour is in improving your well-being. If you are low, and before you start the next video, you may want to have a go at keeping an activity diary and then plan a week ahead filled with things that give you a sense of pleasure and a sense of achievement. See if your mood improves as you engage in these activities. Thanks for watching. Please get in touch if you need any help. Please would you click the link which takes you to the weekly questionnaire again. Any feedback would be really appreciated. See you in video 4.